Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching this video. I have Claire with us today, who is one of the amazing Bloom graduates, past students, and she's here to tell us all about her amazing story and the amazing results that she has seen having done Bloom, but also some of my other courses. So you're more than welcome to talk about other things as well. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Aggie. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so if you can just start telling us about your story, your thyroid history, your diagnosis, your symptoms, basically what has brought you here, what prompted you to search for help.
Yeah, thank you. So in 2022, I had my son in May, and then I think that I had a few symptoms, but I didn't relate it to anything autoimmunity or anything. Quite a lot of symptoms you can have are quite often quite similar to postpartum symptoms. So, hair loss, fatigue, and like brain fog, and these kind of things are quite, I think new mums probably already relate to having those things. So when I one day woke up and I had a headache, and it was the worst headache that I've ever had. And it continued and it got worse and worse throughout the day. And I got kind of like a twitch in my eye. So I went to the doctor and we thought it was migraine. So I got migraine kind of medication, went away. And this was the weekend. So that was the Friday. And then by the Sunday night, the pain was so bad that I hadn't slept all week and I was vomiting from the pain. So I said to my partner, like, I have to go to the hospital. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I went to the hospital. They kind of put me on oxygen, couldn't find out what it was. The first day, they said I had an autoimmune disease. And that they thought that this was the reason why I had this kind of inflammation in my head, which was pressing onto my brain. So I had MRI scans and everything. Then I started to get these kind of like little spots on my face. And then it turned out it was shingles. So I had shingles in my face and in my eye and in the nerves and the muscles behind my eye, which was then pushing onto my brain, causing this kind of really bad headache. Yeah. So I was in hospital on a drip for 11 days. And then I left hospital with a load of tablets that I took for a long time. And so I went to the doctor a few months later and said, okay, so how can I get off these tablets? Which ones should we start with? And he said, well, you've got Hashimoto, so you won't ever come off those tablets. Those tablets you take for life. And that for me was like a massive realization. I was like, no one told me when I was in the hospital that I had Hashimoto. They just said it was an autoimmune disease, and then the next day it was shingles. So I thought, oh, I don't have the autoimmune disease anymore. I just had shingles, and I was recovering from the shingles. So, and I still had a lot of the symptoms that we describe now, like the fatigue, the bloating. I think I couldn't really see it, but I had inflammation everywhere in my body, like my face, and just generally feeling kind of like, I don't know, bulky or almost. So I obviously kind of Googled this, as everyone does, and then you kind of find all of these things. Okay, what should I eat? What not should I eat? I went gluten-free, but I was still like buying a lot of processed food because I just thought, okay, well, I can't eat gluten, so I'll buy the gluten-free alternative to that food and then just carry on as normal. And I think that actually I was probably eating as much sugar, if not more sugar, because I also was a vegetarian. So I used to eat a lot of meat replacement, which is highly processed and got a lot of sugar and salt in. And then all of these other kind of gluten-free alternatives. So I wasn't feeling like I went gluten-free, but I wasn't feeling any better. And I still had all of these symptoms.
That is so common that people, they hear somewhere or read online some influencer post about gluten-free for Hashimoto's, and they immediately obviously go gluten-free, but this is the only thing they change, and there is no difference because it's not just about the gluten. There is a connection, and we know it's important, and maybe not to the same extent for everyone, but if it's the only thing you do, it's unlikely. And the gluten, exactly what you said. So for everyone listening, like gluten substitutes, the gluten-free products are usually just so bad. The list of ingredients this long. So, what are we replacing? One evil for the other, really.
Yeah. I don't know how I found it, but after a lot of, I find most of my information from Instagram, as probably most people do now. So yeah, I found you and I thought, okay, and there's so many great resources that you have on your profile. I really liked it. So that's when I think we had the first conversation. I felt really hopeful at that point. Like I just needed someone to say which way to go, because I think there's so much information and you're bombarded, and I kind of got overwhelmed with like, okay, is it that one? Is that good, or should I try this one, or and how long do I should try it for? And then all of the things built on top. It's just too much to find and
To
deal
do it
with.
yourself as well. Like I
Yeah, to do it
think that
myself.
the guidance, like being led and held through this process, because we are not reinventing the wheel. Like there are certain things that will work, right? But there is just so much, and it's so confusing, and it's just also like actually doing it, right? Like yourself,
Yeah,
finding motivation to.
yeah.
Mm.
And I think having all of those other women, like
Mm.
warriors almost, I underestimated the power that that had of like, okay, having a chat, and also the buddy system that you had.
Yeah.
We'd WhatsApp each other, and just someone to go, oh, do you think this is normal, or like, how are you finding this? And just to have someone who also was going through all of the things that you were going through, because I think it can feel quite isolating. So
And it's so funny, especially with hypo and Hashimoto's, because it's so bloody common. Like it's not other person, but it's, I think 14% they say of women have hypo, probably more because so many women don't know they have Hashimoto's because it
yeah,
hasn't yet affected the thyroid hormones. And obviously it's not tested for. So to be honest, I think probably more like 20%. And still you feel so alone in this because we don't talk about this. It's like another invisible illness. Like no one looking at you will be able to tell that there is something wrong with you. And then we just don't talk about it because there is just so much shame, and just like not wanting to bother people. And this is why it's so powerful to come together in those containers and just do things as this little movement. Alrighty, so tell me, what expectations did you have of the program so you're like, I'm gonna do this. What went through your head?
I think I had to take a leap of faith, because my boyfriend thought I was nuts, like handing money over to somebody that I met on Instagram. So I didn't have that much expectations, but as soon as you kind of gave me access to the platform, I was like overwhelmed by the quality of the information, and like I was really surprised and happy with what was delivered. I just love to work on myself and visualizing myself as future me. I found that super powerful, because I knew that I think if you really think about what you want, you get there, right? Whereas if you don't have a vision of where you want to go, there's no, you don't have any expectation or drive towards that. All of these things that we've learned are things that we should have been taught at school, almost, about our nervous system and being able to just like bring ourselves down and regulate it, and understanding. I feel like I connect to my body so much more. Like I understand where I am in my cycle. I understand when I feel stressed or angry or sad, and I'm able to process that emotion a lot more, and it's like a bit more considered rather than like unconsidered.
That's such a great insight. Like, and I love this. I absolutely love this because I think a lot of the issues come from the fact that we just don't know. We've not been told. No one trained us on how to human properly and how to be a woman, especially with all those hormones, and all those things that change throughout the month, and just being how to notice. Like I think that is absolutely imperative, and I'm so happy that you've mentioned that. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so in terms of you've already mentioned some improvements. What else have you been like in the first? You obviously Bloom is 3 months, so first few weeks passed. What were the first improvements that you started to notice?
Immediately, I saw like that I just felt lighter. I didn't have to take that nap in the afternoon. I didn't feel like I was crawling through the day. I could, and also things like just walking upstairs or taking a small walk, like all of these things were a massive challenge for me before. So yeah, I could see my strength kind of building, like week by week. Even my yoga teacher was like the progress was really kind of like transformational, kind of really quite quickly, just because of the amount of energy that I had.
I think the fatigue and that is just so, I always say that it's one of the quickest things to change, and no one believes me, because everyone comes from this history of feeling knackered for so long and like dragging yourself through the day. So it's like, I'm like, no, like you will feel very different very quickly. And of course there are some, if someone has like chronic gut issues, that can take a little bit longer because we've got a little bit more to dig into, and some imbalances take longer. But fatigue, brain fog, for me, that's just like, honest, I see that improving literally within, if not days, then definitely first few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about most enjoyable and most challenging parts. So if we start with the most enjoyable first.
The most enjoyable was, as we talked about, the nervous system, just kind of learning how to handle stress and handling stressful situations, like just taking myself away and doing a body scan, like takes not very long, right? But it just completely composes you again. And then I can continue with my day. I don't have to like harbor all of this energy. I think this mind-body gut connection, I really enjoyed learning about. I think I didn't really know much about gut health, or I knew that they existed, and maybe you should have an Activia yogurt, but that's that's really is where it went. And now I understand that no, that's not going to help me. It's got way too much sugar in, and like what I can actually do. And is it kind of exciting exploring all of these new things like sauerkraut and kimchi and beer, and like I've completely addicted to kombucha. So that's a rather expensive habit.
Yeah, no, for an unknown reason, because it's literally fermented water. So it's the price tags sometimes are very interesting.
I actually made some, it sounds disgusting, but I actually really like it. Fizzy water with a bit of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of a ginger shot. So I've got this ginger, like puree ginger, with ice. It's amazing.
Sounds really nice. Yeah. There is this non-alcoholic, basically it's like it's meant to be a cocktail base called Jimber, I think, or something like this.
Yeah.
Yes, like Bimba, but Jimba.
Yeah.
And it's super, it's got some sugar in it, but there is one that's like with less sugar. It's still very little, and it's amazing because you can literally create that cocktail that is super good for your immunity, for your gut, and it's really delicious. Again, I have to say, like, price-wise, it's pretty nuts for what it is, but it is delicious as a, like a treat now and again. I think it's really cool. I actually got a question here for you about the enjoyable parts, or maybe challenging. What did you think about the hot seats? Because I'm just going to very quickly say what they are. So basically in Bloom is personalized, so we meet 6 times, I think it is, in those small groups when everyone has a chance to have a chat with me, and it's kind of like a one-to-one session, but like in a mini version. So you're there listening to everyone else, and then it's your time to chat. How did you find that? Like, did it help you personalize and like get some more support from me?
Yeah, definitely. I think that you have those questions that are quite personal to you, and we also did a lot of, well, my bloods took a long time, but we also had that blood work that we kind of worked on together, which I think was really helpful. I just think it was nice to hear everyone else's stories, and like to know that other person also had that thing that they didn't know how to do, or they had a question about, and then you like sometimes they were very personal and that person would just speak, but sometimes we had like discussions, right, where 2 or 3 of us would just talk about something, and then you kind of so I think it was really helpful to be in the group setting.
There was just so much value in other people's questions, because there are always things that you didn't think about asking, but actually somewhere subconsciously you were wondering that, or you just find it helpful. And I think it's just so validating, and like
definitely
making you feel like you're not.
And it was nice that we did it in small groups, so people that aren't as vocal maybe felt, and we got to have that own personal, like 15 minutes of our own questions when talking. So that was good.
Yeah, I think that's like the main difference between Bloom and anything else that I do, that it is really a variation. It's almost like a one-to-one program in a group setting. So you get personalized spotlight, attention, and support, at the same time having the group energy and all the lovely ladies with you.
Yeah.
Movement. Okay, and what was challenging?
The exercise for me was challenging. So just doing any sort of movement was like kind of, I had to push myself. and I didn't actually get to do any. I know you like recommend that we incorporate strength training into when we were doing Bloom, but like there was no way I was not there. And obviously I did Undiet with you later on. And with that, and now I definitely feel so much stronger. And now I'm kind of introducing. So I think that's also nice that you don't have to do everything. I think you also reiterate that, like take these chunks and add them as you can. Like I also said to my buddy, like we don't have to do we don't have to have done all of this by the end of the week. Like we've got 3 months journey to kind of have all of these things done, and then build the ones that we find most helpful into the future like life as we go on. So at the beginning I felt like, oh god, I'm not doing everything perfect, but actually it's been so nice to be like, okay, I don't have to be perfect at everything and don't have to do everything every day. And if I miss my red light one night, it's okay.
But it's such an important lesson, because so many women have this perfectionist good girl conditioning, and they approach healing in the same way. I need to tick all the boxes. If I haven't done my perfect morning routine, or if I haven't eaten perfectly to plan, I have failed and it's my fault. And honestly, so much about Bloom is undoing this and
definitely
just progress over perfection, and it's regulating if you allow yourself not to be perfect. So yes, thank you for saying that, because I think so many women can relate. Okie dokie. So tell us how you're doing now. So it's been how many months we've been working together, like since the
well, I started on the fundamentals in January, right? And then we started Bloom in kind of March time. I am doing so well. Like I'm just so physically fit and feel alive, if that makes doesn't sound too corny. Like I feel like I do enjoy lifting some weights because I feel strong. Like, and I have lost a little bit of weight. I think that I've always been conditioned to see a scale and know what that number is supposed to be, and that it's not always about that, right? It's about changing your body composition, and like everything fits so much better now. Like I don't, like my jeans aren't tight, I don't feel uncomfortable in my clothes, and I just feel healthy. Also more considerate of myself, like more kind to myself. Like if it's the week before my period, I don't feel as good as I did like last week when I was pumping weight, because I was like, like all these different stages, and I understand, okay, this week is okay to just go to lie down yoga, eat some carbs, and put my blanket on and watch some TV. Like that's okay. And yeah, just being kinder, I think.
But I think what you said about feeling better in your body, clothes fitting better, it's just, the whole idea behind our diet as well is literally that we just change completely that relationship with food and body. All righty, I don't want to keep you for too long, but if you can, before we wrap up, if you can just tell us, what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining Bloom? So we're going to be launching soon again, and starting the new round in September. And of course, people are sitting there thinking about the investment, thinking whether it's worth it, if it's possible for them. What would you say to someone who's on a fence?
I just think that it's really valuable, all of these things that I've learned, and there's something that I will live with forever, and I can also share with my partner, and I'm going to share it with my son. When you don't have your health, you would give anything. So it's a very small investment versus not having your health or your life, because it really Hashimoto took my life away. I didn't have any social life, or you can relive again. Like, and I'm 40 next year, and I feel like it's such a great blessing that I can like go into my 40s and be strong and healthy and fit, and like have glowing skin, and my nails grow so long. I have to have my nails done all the time, and so yeah. Thank you, Aggie. It's just been such a beautiful journey. It has. It's been great, and I am also like gonna miss you as well, because we check in all the time, and yeah. So I think thank you.
Are you making me cry? Yes, the weeping session. But you know where to find me, obviously we will keep in touch, but thank you so much for saying this. It has been an absolute pleasure. And obviously, I'm always super proud of watching my clients, students go through the phases and following the programs. And I remember when we first started chatting, and like your entire story, like, you know, when you've done fundamentals, and like you had such a positive, like immediately attitude towards all of this, and you started making changes. And even before we started Bloom, I remember you said like how much better you're already feeling, and I knew you are going to be one of the, you know, just those people who just do everything and they prioritize this journey, even if it's not about perfection, but just trying your hardest. Right?
Just want to let everyone else know that I'm rubbish at sticking to things. Like, I am such a faddie. So this is something that I've stuck to, and just because it's easy, because you see results.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claire, for taking the time to chat to me today. And yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. There will be definitely things happening in the future. But either way, we're gonna chat on Instagram, I'm sure. Good luck with everything. Bye.